Okay, everybody. I have something really cool to tell you about. If you haven't heard yet about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain here. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one single place. Now, the way that you can do this is you got to download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm, and then you can get started. It's really fun. We just switched over recently here at All Too Real 2, and I'm enjoying it so far. So be sure to check it out and let us know what you think. Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Michael E. Cullen II, and with me, as always, is
Matthew Haas.
Matthew Haas.
Yep.
My friend, my brother, from another mother.
Mm-hmm. Another world, maybe.
Yes.
No.
Like the soap opera, Another World.
Yeah, maybe.
That used to be on TV. Anyways, but it's okay because these are the days of our lives in this general hospital full of the young and the restless. Wait, what?
Wow.
Where all my children reside in this one life to live.
Wow.
Okay, so on today's episode, I have a all-to interview with Jonah Ray, a.k.a. Jonah Ray Rodriguez, who people know as a stand-up comic, podcaster, host of the revival of Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yep.
And the co-host of The Meltdown with Jonah and Kumail, where he and Kumail Nanjiani hosted a show on Comedy Central. And also were very innovative in the world of stand-up comedy when it came to their Meltdown comedy show that they had at the Meltdown in Los Angeles for years, along with produced by Emily Gordon, who is Kumail's wife. But he also hosts the podcast Jonah Radio, spelled Raydio, and he has a new podcast which we talk about in the episode called Let Me Watch Your Movie with You, I think, or something like that. I'm trying to remember the exact. It'll be in the show notes, folks. I'm dumb. Anyways, yeah, he also has made appearances on Jimmy Kimmel Live, the Sarah Silverman program, among other things. He's a performer at the Upright Citizens Brigade, worked on the Andy Milonakis show, and he wrote for The Soup on E for years with Joel McHale. And so anyways, it was a really fun interview. I thoroughly enjoyed talking to him. He's a really nice guy. really cool, down to earth. I was a little starstruck talking to him actually, but it was still kind of cool. He kind of, just like any other dude,
Yep.
So hopefully you all enjoy this. But right now, here's my interview with Jonah Ray. First off, how you doing with all the craziness in the world right now?
As good as anybody, I guess, or better than some, worse than others. Hard to say. It's the lack of work has been kind of the most disconcerting thing, just because I had some gigs lined up, a couple conventions and a couple acting gigs. That conventions postponed, acting gigs postponed indefinitely, and that was kind of the stuff that, like, when you freelance, when you have like a kind of a freelance work situation, you kind of you count on the work to come in and kind of make your nut, essentially.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's like, so that stuff has been very disconcerting, but hoping for the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, just curious, like, how did you get started into like comedy and acting and all that?
It's something I always wanted to do. I really wanted to perform since I was a little kid, and I started playing drums. I think out of a way of, I always loved the drums, but if I were to, self-analyze it, it was a very protective way to perform. You're you're surrounded by all this metal and wood, and you're making loud noises. But it's also like it's always collaborative in that way, and because I loved to perform, but I at the same time didn't like attention. It was a very kind of growing up like kind of like a big white kid in Hawaii. It's like you don't want any eyes on you. You don't want to stick out more than you already did, and for fear of just kind of any kind of childhood bullying. And so but then I also like loved comedy and movies and just but never thought I never thought it was anything I could do. Like no one in Hawaii, we had Tia Carrera when I was growing up, and that was that was about it when it came to actors from Hawaii. Bette Midler was from Hawaii, kind of, just because she was I think a military kid. But it was just something that I always wanted to do, and then I kind of finally made the decision to, like, right after I graduated high school, I moved out to LA and just start, like, I didn't know how to get into showbiz, so I was like, I don't how do you get an agent, how do you get a manager? It's like knocking on doors. YouTube wasn't really a thing. The social media was still very infant. So the only way I knew how to, like, practically and logically start performing in showbiz was to sign up for open mics at stand-up shows. And that's kind of what led me into it. I was never really intentional to, like, be a stand-up comic, but it was the only way I could practically figure out how to perform.
Yeah. What was like your first stand-up performance like for you? Like, was it a good experience, a bad experience, or?
It was generally, it was okay. It was good enough for me to do it again. I was kind of being a nerd about it, where I started just going to open mics to watch, and I would find out about open mics and in the local, like, alternative weekly, where they would have the list of, like, oh, this coffee shop on Thursday nights, or that the Ha Ha Cafe in North Hollywood on and so I remember going up and thinking I had a couple of good okay jokes, but one of them, like, I was 19, 20 years old. So yeah. I had jokes about, like, jerking off and like, like an incest joke kind of thing, just cause I was, like, a punk kid just trying to, like, what makes me and my friends, like, laugh and giggle and I remember, like, it going fine. But also kind of being inspired by how no one really did well at the open mic.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like, I was like, okay. And then the second time and it was real bad. It was like some guy screamed at me from the audience, another comic, and I remember just kind of like that. And for some reason that made me want to like dive in that much more. It was, and I was never that great, but like, I was fine enough and determined enough to keep going,
Yeah. How did you and Kumail decide to do the Meltdown and everything? Like, because I find that fascinating, the whole concept of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I had been doing monthly shows at the Meltdown Comics backroom for years, a few years at this point. This really funny actress, Linda Pine, had kind of started to do stuff there because she worked there, and she had a boyfriend that was doing comedy. So like she kind of started putting on these monthly shows, and then I took those shows over. And I'd always wanted to make them weekly, but I didn't have the energy to like book a great diverse lineup every week. And cause I was also working full time at the time. And I just didn't, I was like, I don't know how I can't pull that off. And then Emily V. Gordon, Kumail's wife, and Kumail moved to town. We had kind of met briefly in New York, the previous year, and we became friends. I had just started seeing who would become my wife, and like we were going on couple dates a lot, and just because we all like horror movies, and we all had a lot of the same interests, and more like me and Dee had more in common with Emily's interest as a former kind of goth punk kid from the South. Like, then, and Kumail, but Kumail like loves horror movies and stuff like that. So, and I remember one time we were getting dinner, and they're like, oh, we gotta go to this bar, and check it out we're thinking about doing like a weekly stand-up show. And I go, oh, which bar is it? And they're like, oh, it's St. Nick's on 3rd Street. I go, oh, people have tried and failed. It is not set up right for a show. It's, it's like too wide and too shallow to work. It's too, the audience is spread out. It's upstairs. There's no bar nearby, and they're like, oh, really? I was like, yeah, I've like multiple people I know have tried shows there. And they're like, oh, I was like, no, but I've been thinking about making my show weekly. Would you want to maybe, check out my show? I was like, come on, why don't you do the next one and you guys can check it out and see how you feel. And, my shows were doing well. They were filling out, what I thought was filling out the room, at the time, 100, 150 people or so, like a month. And so like they came, and then like they're like, yeah, let's do it. And then so like at that show, like I just kind of announced, I'm like, hey, starting like next month, we're switching from Fridays to Wednesdays, and we are gonna go weekly. And so we started the weekly show with just that audience just showed up. So it was like, everyone was just like, oh, it was successful right away. And like, it was like, yeah, but it's because we were able to like pull from that Friday crowd. And talking to a lot of people, it's because it was just like their neighborhood, like that area where Meltdown is, it's like terrible for parking. It's mostly apartments. And so a lot of people that get parking spots, like just, they want to walk somewhere to do something. And that was like a big part of our audience, was like neighborhood people for a while.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because I listened to the History of Stand-Up podcast, and they talked a lot about the Meltdown, and I thought that was really interesting. How I think it's kind of an important part of history of stand-up in general, anyway. So I think
it's so funny. For me, it was just I guess like anything that like it's hard to kind of put in a historical context for myself because I was there.
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate with how big it got and all the, it's like how many people like start shows with their friends and then it becomes a TV show,
Yeah.
And the show was really important to us, and that was our social scene. It was a scene, and then of course because, of like, the Nerdist company kind of taking over the whole backspace, and then, then there would be shows every night of the week there. We were always kind of autonomous in our spot. Like we were not really a nerd melt show. We were the Meltdown show at, we were the Meltdown with Jonah Kumail at Meltdown Comics. So, yeah, I mean, like, it's funny because, like, now I'm, like, still making, friends, and people go, like, it's like, I just gotta say, that show meant a lot to me. I always wanted to be booked on it. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. How, speaking of, like, the Nerdist and stuff, how did you get involved with them after that?
Well, that was before, I'd known, I'd known Hardwick, just from right when I started doing stand-up. We worked together on, I was doing stand-up and making videos and stuff like that. And then he had a show, and then, the guys who were running his show on G4, Web Soup, they liked my stuff too. And so they hired me as a writer and director, for the sketches and jokes and stuff like that. So we were just kind of working on that show, and then the team for the Web Soup got offered from E, which was same kind of sister company, all under the Comcast umbrella. They offered us we got a pilot to revamp the Daily 10, which would have been one of those news entertainment countdown shows on E, just, FAP, nothing, infotainment. And it was one of those things that were we did our best. It's like, none of us were really interested in, the subject matter, and we did our best to make it funny to us, but we were all weirdos and absurdists and stuff like that. So, and I remember Chris was really kind of banking on it. He really thought that was going to be the big thing for him was, this show. This show was going to be the thing that, finally broke him, busted him out, whatever, level he considered himself in. And when it didn't happen, it was kind of a big blow to him. And then that's when he was just like, I'm just going to start something on my own. I'm just going to start a podcast. Do you want to co-host it with me? And I said, sure. I don't really know what podcasts are. I don't listen to them. But I'm down. It sounds fun. And then he's like, I'm going to have my friend. I know this guy that works at the Mac store, Matt. He'll just be the producer, because I know he produces, Jimmy, not Pardo, but another Jimmy, Jimmy Dore's show. And I'm going to have him produce this one. And then Matt's so incredibly funny and charming that he just and it just immediately just became the three of us. And then it just really just kind of took off and became bigger than anything I would have ever imagined. Yeah.
You did Jonah Radio. You do that still. I mean, how did you come up with the idea for that?
I was just trying to think of doing my own kind of podcast, and a way to kind of stay in touch with music, keep up with music, share music. I love sharing music. I just, from being in bands as a kid, making mixtapes for friends, or, working at record stores, it is one of my favorite hobbies. And, like anything, you just, when you, I'm sure you get this. It's like, oh, it's a hobby. I'll turn it into an obligation.
Yeah.
And so it was just kind of I wanted to do something with my friend Cash, who also was producing on Web Soup. And yeah, it was just originally it was going to be this idea where I was just going to I was going to have themes and play songs I wanted. And then, we just kind of started doing the thing where if you submit a song, and then they kind of just to kind of stay safe in the realm of legally playing stuff on a podcast. And that one was that was purely out of also fun. I wanted it to be with Cash and Neil, my two friends, two of the first friends I made when I came out to LA when I started doing comedy. And it became, I felt that age, that we were at the age where we started seeing each other a little less. And I kind of wanted something that was going to be our poker night.
Yeah.
Something that, every week we get together and we get too drunk. We bust each other's balls and then play and listen to music. And it's one of those things where it was so casual for so long, and now it just kind of keeps going, and we don't, it's just something, but it's nice to have a little project with your friends, Yeah. That's something as I'm getting older, I'm realizing that I love that. I love, just kind of, it feels like you're a kid again. You're let's make a movie, or let's play pretend, or make a band, or let's do a thing. It's the little project that you kind of, get to do while you're hanging out.
Yeah, that's pretty much why I started this podcast. I mean, because my best friend and I co-host it, but he doesn't like to do the interviews for some reason. So I always get stuck doing any kind of interviews we do.
Stuck doing the interviews.
Yeah, not stuck. No, I'm just joking. No, I actually enjoy it a lot, but he doesn't. He's got a little social anxiety stuff going on. So
yeah,
definitely. So I understand him. But no, but I do appreciate that. I like that idea where it's, just you and your buddies kind of getting together and doing something for fun. I mean, and then kind of making something out of it.
And that's kind of, that's with that, of course, not everything is going to be, that was the intent for me of the Meltdown. Not everything's going to be that big because of the intentions of, but it is funny because I remember like Kumail, like in some interview once, he was like, well, I remember when we were going to start the show, I said, if we're going to start a comedy show, it's got to be like the best comedy show in town. I was like, I don't remember you saying that. I don't remember that coming up. But like, I do know for a fact though, that Kumail did have that in his head. He may have not said it out loud, but like, that is the type of guy he is, of just like, him and Emily both, like no half measures. They just do it. A full on, and it shows, and it their success very much shows that.
Yeah, I mean, even just his recent like working out and becoming like the next like bodybuilding.
Yeah, Men's Fitness. Like, was it Men's Fitness or was it Bodybuilding Magazine? I can't remember. It was some men's magazine.
Yeah, it was just like.
And it's funny too because like when that came out, like everyone's like, I was just getting texts and emails and messages about it, and they're like, have you seen this? I'm like, yes, we're friends. I've been seeing the progress. Like, it's like, I've been keeping these pictures. I have all these pictures on my phone that I've been having to keep to myself because it's like, it was like, he focused so much on it and it was like the only thing he could talk about because it was the only thing he was kind of doing. And he was like nerding out about like the science behind the moves and the nutrition and all this stuff. And, when you're doing something all the time, it's like, what else are you going to talk about?
Yeah. How did you get involved with Mystery Science Theater 3000?
So I was we had on the Nerdist we had Joel on.
Yeah.
And I'm lifelong fan of Mystery Science Theater. Yeah. And so we had him on and like it was very pleasant. It was just we had been doing it long enough to where I knew I was like, I'm not going to become friends with any of the people that come on, if anything, I'm like the main dude's buddy, that just like throws in jokes here and there, not really like, even like one time I think we had like Josh Gad and Billy Crystal on because they were promoting that show, The Comedians, I think the FX show they did. Yeah. And I remember like, we start recording and then there's a riff going on and I throw in a joke and then Billy Crystal was like, who's this guy?
Oh, jeez.
It's like, oh God.
Oh no.
Yeah. I'm one of the guys. I'm not sure how I don't know how the show's pitched to you, dude. But it's three of us. And so like it was nice. It was nice to meet him. And so, but then the next night, there was a screening of Wayne White's documentary at Cinefamily, which was a little kind of small art house theater. But Wayne White, who did, he had a documentary on him called Beauty is Embarrassing. And it's a great documentary for anyone that's at all interested in the mentality of an artist or anything like that. But he's a guy, he did like a lot of those Peter Gabriel videos, with the puppets. He was like one of the set designers for Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Cool.
Just a really incredible, interesting dude. And also like a fine artist as well. Like also knows how to do like very beautiful, oil and acrylics and stuff. But it's called Beauty is Embarrassing. And there was a screening of it. So I went and Joel was there too, doing like a Q&A with, Wayne White because they knew each other back in the day. So Joel was doing the Q&A for, like moderating it, for Wayne. And then like at the little like kind of like, lobby area afterwards, I was like, oh, hey man. He's like, hey, good to see you again. Wow. Yeah. Oh, you like, we chatted a bit and like, I was like, oh yeah, I'm a big Wayne White fan, this and that. And, he introduced me to Wayne White and then the next day I was doing some show on the West Side. I was coming back and I was like, oh, I'll swing by Meltdown, because I think it was, Harmontown was going on.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I'll swing by and just see who's hanging out, because that was the beauty of that space too. It's just like, any night of the week you can be like, oh, I'm gonna swing by, because I could just walk in. So it's just and I get there and Joel's there because he's old buds with Harmon and Schraub and stuff like that, and like I go, oh hey man, he's like, hey, are you following me? I was like, no, I know these guys. I have a show here at this space, and then we he just he got my number, and then kind of started just talking on the phone, and he was slowly always talking about I'm trying to figure out a way to bring back Mystery Science Theater. I'm like, oh wow, needless to say, I'll be involved in any way. I'd love to write on it. Or help produce it or whatever you need. Because I'd been working in TV at that point. I was I wasn't like, it's like, give me a shot. Like, I was like, I'm more than capable of, working on the show. And would love to. And he was like, yeah, man, I don't know. It'd be cool. Yeah, you may come on as a writer or something like that. And then months would pass and he'd call me. We'd just chat about stuff. He's like, yes, I'm still trying to think. It's like, it'd be cool if, you were maybe because I've seen some of the videos you've done, maybe direct some of the segments or maybe come on as a producer. I was like, yeah, anything. I'll do anything on the show. And then one day he just calls me. He's like, yeah, I've been thinking about it, man. I've seen, watch some of your stuff online. I think you should just, be the guy. And I was like, what do you mean? What guy? He's like, the guy, the me, the Mike. And I was like, whoa. And even from that point, it was still, maybe a year and a half before the Kickstarter even was a thing.
Yeah.
Because for a little while he's like, yeah, man, I'm going to start a Mystery Science Theater in Philly, and you'll come out, you and your wife will come out, and then we'll just put on shows every night and riffing workshops during the day. So 7 nights a week you'll be there. And at this time, the Meltdown show, my Kamel show, kind of started to gain a lot of steam, and I was getting some attention. The Nerdist podcast wasn't doing well. And I was like, I don't think I can do this, Joel. I had to say no. I was like, I can't do this. Which broke my heart,
Yeah.
And then he kind of came around, because that's always Joel. He's just blue sky. He's just he has these huge, crazy ideas, and he kind of has to say them out loud to kind of see them and formulate them into something that's going to work. And so, yeah, then finally, it kind of got narrowed down, and he started talking to Ivan Asquith, from Kickstarter, and that's kind of how it all happened. It's, it's really, because it wasn't necessarily a moment, it was just this slow burn of a thing where I'm like, I guess this is happening now. Really, the only moment that it really felt was when we were doing a camera test. We were doing a camera test, for a lighting setup for the day before we were going to start shooting. So because I went and did some stuff and then signed some paperwork, and we had already kind of written all the riffs and stuff like that, and we had recorded the riffs. But it was time to do all the stage stuff, all the Satellite I Love stuff, and the whole time, it's I'm like, oh, this is a version of. This is all a version of Mystery Science Theater. This isn't Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah.
And and then even though I'm there and I put on the jumpsuit, I'm like, but it's a yellow jumpsuit. It's not, it's not maroon or it's not blue. It's not, and it's me in it. So everything was kind of 3-dimensional and just kind of okay, and this is neat. This is neat. We're, and then I get onto the Satellite Love set, and it's again, it doesn't look like it because I'm seeing it in 3 dimensions, and it's I see the edges of the set, and I see the trenches, and then I look at a monitor. I look at a monitor of what the camera's seeing, and I see me on the set on a flat surface, now I'm 2-dimensional. Now I'm inside the TV, and I'm on Mystery Science Theater 3000. Now I'm on the Satellite Love, and then and the puppeteers bring up Crow and Servo on either side of me, and I just started tears just started kind of coming out of my eyes. I was like, what the fuck is going on? It was so overwhelming, and I that was the moment that I felt pow, but leading up to it was, years of just yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe we'll do it again. We'll see. Maybe you're the guy. Who knows? And even this is give you an idea of my self-esteem. When the Kickstarter came out and it blew up, and they still hadn't announced that I was the new star. It was like they started making so much money so fast, and I was just like, oh no, are they going to like pull a last minute move and go, wait, actually we're going to get Seth Rogen instead, something like that.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. I mean, I think, I grew up like you. I've loved that show since I was a little kid, and I was so happy to see it come back. I mean, it's too bad that it's not really continuing, but hopefully maybe eventually it will.
Yeah, Joel's always kind of trying to figure something out. The show just can't really die. I mean, like it went from to Comedy Central to Sci-Fi years ago, and then stayed alive through Film Crew and Riff Tracks. Yeah, and then to come back and and then like the live shows are really like Joel just loves the live shows because he loves like musical theater and stuff like that, and he loves the idea of like a staged production. And so he really focused, I think, I have a theory that like, if he wasn't so, and plus those make more money than, any TV. Yeah. Like live shows when you're packing out a theater selling merchandise will always make more money. But it was one of those things where like, I have a feeling if like he hadn't like really just focused so hard on making these live shows and these tours as good as they could be, he would have by now figured out like where the show would end up now. But I know he's always talking to people, and it's always kind of a, I'm like, hey, maybe they're interested. Oh, maybe we'll try it this way and this and that. And, just know that every time Joel does something online, he's trying out a new technical element that might like help him figure out how to do the show next. Yeah. So any kind of live stream thing or fundraising thing he does, just like that's something I noticed. I was like, oh, this is how he tests stuff. This is how he workshops it.
Yeah, that's great. As far as like music goes, I'm just curious, like, who are you listening to right now? That's like a band that you really like.
I think my favorite band right now is Idols. They're out of Bristol in the UK. What I love about them is that it's very aggressive, kind of punk music, very working class, sounding vocals, and it's very aggressive and loud music, but it's not violent. It's very positive and very nice. Woke and very like very emotional, but without losing any kind of toughness or humor that comes with a lot of my favorite punk music. And I think Idols is probably my favorite new band right now.
That's very cool. I'll have to check them out for sure. I love music too. So, that's the one thing I kind of miss most about like during this pandemic is I used to love going to see just local bands play, and it's
just seeing any live music. Like, I even like a bad bar cover band. Like, I'd be like, that'd be so nice.
I know. See, I live in Toledo, Ohio, and we have a decent local music scene. Oh yeah, and I'm just so friggin' upset that I haven't been able to see my friends play in a while. So it's just kind of
Plus, in Toledo, you're like in driving distance to a couple other markets. Like you have like multiple choice. You have like option. Like when things are happening, you have options. Because like, what's the next closest? Is Detroit closer?
Detroit's probably the closest, but then Cleveland's not too far away too.
Yeah, so, Cleveland. Like, and those like And Cleveland's always got great tunes, and Akron,
Yeah. So I don't know. I would love to just be able to go to a concert. Or like you said, even just to hear a bad cover band in a bar somewhere.
I want to stand with some loud music and drink a cheap beer. That's all I want.
What do you have planned for the future? Anything coming up? Like once the pandemic's done?
Yeah. I've started to really focus on what I want out of what I've been doing, and trying not to feel embarrassed by it or ashamed or feel like I'm reaching too far. I like all I want to do is make movies, be it acting in them, producing them, writing them, directing them. And I'm not talking about like it's like I'm not like when I say that, it's like I don't really care which scale.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm not gonna. I'll never be like a pop star like Kumail. You know, I like the idea of just, you know, making movies and making a movie that's good enough to where I get to make the next one.
Yeah.
You know, those kind of like indie guys that just kind of like the Zellner brothers in like I think they're out of Austin.
Yeah.
Where it's like they just kind of make these small movies, or Adam Agoyan out of Canada. Like it's, you know,
I love Agoyan. Yeah.
Yeah, and like his last movie I thought was great, like Guest of Honor. Because David Thewlis is good, and like he's the most watchable. He's one of my favorites.
Yeah, he could do anything.
yeah. But so like I started to kind of focus my energy on that. And it's funny because I remember a while back when I started, you know, getting jobs like writing on shows like Web Soup, and then we had that Daily 10 thing, and then I was like, you know, producing segments, and then I started to get these jobs that were in the realm of what I wanted. They were showbiz jobs, which I love. I love show business. I love entertainment. But I realized it's like within it, I was on these different paths that were slowly taking me away from what I always really intended to do. And I always would say like, you know, because I was like, you know, producing a E countdown special called E's 50 Most Insane Celebrity Oops. You know, one of those like terrible, you know, like I was like I had to like sit in a room with a camera pointed at some, you know, C-list celebrity. I go, what about when, you know, Alec Baldwin made that drunken call to his daughter? What about when Tiger Woods, you know, this is like, and then having Corey Feldman kind of like just talk about nonsense and go, okay, I think you got something in there. You know, just like, and like, I was kind of going like, I'm like, what am I doing here? And I was making more money than I'd ever have in my life.
Yeah.
And, but I was miserable. And then even like, I got a job on The Soup, and I was like, oh, well, The Soup, that's a comedy show. I like that show. And then I realized it was still just kind of disposable. Not to say that like, it's not good and it doesn't bring people comfort and joy. And, but I just like, I was like, this is not what I want to do. I want to make fake things. I want to make, you know, the stuff that I wanted to watch when I was younger. And so that kind of started with, you know, I quit The Soup, and then just kind of started focusing on, you know, trying to audition more and get better at acting, and then like developing my own stuff. Yeah. And I remember that was like a big part of it. Like, you know, I was talking to my manager years ago, and he was like, you just have to get you have to generate your own heat. Like, you have to make a bunch of your own stuff. And then so I was like, okay. So I like, you know, really tried like my hardest, and like I start like focusing really, on the Meltdown show. And that started kind of becoming popular. And then it was looking like we were going to turn it into a TV show. And then like, you know, I had this idea for, you know, a travel show parody called Hidden America. That was like a sketch show, but baked into a, you know, travel Bourdain style show, that also was part narrative. And then at the same time, Mystery Science Theater started to happen. And so I was like, okay, the work is paying off. And then I had, you know, 3 seasons of Meltdown, 2 seasons of Hidden America, you know, 2 seasons of, Mystery Science Theater, and a couple tours. And then, I got done with it right when I got back from that tour. It's like, you know, like everything was like piled on top of each other, you know, and it all kind of ended at the same time. Like, right. Like, you know, we ended the Meltdown show. CISO went under, the new season of, Mystery Science Theater came out. We went on that tour. And then, my dad died, like suddenly. And it, like, I was too tired creatively and emotionally to like continue what I was doing, like that momentum. And I remember like going to my agents and managers going like, well, I did the thing you asked for. Like I generated what was that? Like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons worth of 3 TV shows within a matter of a few years. and they go, yeah, good job. What are you going to do next? And I was like, well, if I got you're like, you just need to generate some heat. And I was like, and I kind of just, I got bitter.
Yeah.
I got bitter because it's like, I really thought that that's how it worked out here. You know, like you put in the work, you get the shows, you get like, you know, I thought it was, you know, sequential.
Yeah.
And like, you know, like, it's like, oh yeah, it's like, cause then someone saw me on you know, some hip guy liked Hidden America. So he put me on his little movie, and then like that thing and then, you know, I got like the buddy character and some sick, you know, something I thought there was going to be this other thing that came, and nothing came. And I don't think, I was really even ready for it. I think it was pretty unhealthy at the time. And wouldn't even be able to do it if I tried, just cause it's still dealing with, you know, my dad being gone all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And so all that stuff, and I got bitter, and like, it's like, and that's not a good look out here, you know, or good way to live.
Yeah. And
to kind of feel like you're entitled to something because of something else you did. And that was really ridiculous. And so, and you know, it was the realization that like the work I'd been doing, because it was like stand up, or like, you know, what you know, what people like when people call me like the host of Mystery Science Theater, I kind of go, well, I'm not me. It's like it's a part. It's a part I'm playing. It's a character. Like, even though the guy's named Jonah, and like it's essentially me, but it's a version of me. Same thing with like Hidden America, where it's like it's Hidden America with Jonah Ray, but it's like, you know, it's all scripted and narrative. You know, it's a narrative, essentially, a sketch show. And but like I had realized I'd kind of set myself up as a host, as a personality. And that's some of that stuff started getting offered to me. And cause that's something I'm good at. And I was like, no, but I don't want that. I want to do fake things.
Yeah.
Like, and they're like, it's like, well, this Nat Geo show about like, you know, backyard science, like they're just like, they're ready to go. They'll give you the job. And I was like, but I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be me. I want to make fake things. I want to make fake things. And so I had to kind of, really reassess what I was doing, what I was putting my energy into. And this is like a really long answer. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Yeah. But, and so again, I found myself like I did years prior, when I left the soup and I left those producing jobs, where I was like, all of a sudden this pocket, or this lane that wasn't heading towards what I wanted. And I was coming at things in a insincere way, I think. And so a thing that happened with lockdown was I had to kind of, you know, stop. Like, it's like I couldn't go to do a con and, you know, rest on my laurels of things I've accomplished in the past, you know. And, I couldn't, you know, limply do some stand-up shows around town or go on the road, or like, it's like, and stuff that I never really like to do, but it's like that you feel like you have to constantly be putting yourself out there to get something. And so I started kind of just going like, well, I want to make movies. That's what I want to do. And so I just like, and I always had trouble like writing full scripts by myself. I'm like, well, why do I got to be an auteur? Like, I've always flourished when I got a team together, I collaborated with people. Like the thing we were talking about before, it's like, what if I just like made it a thing? And so like within this year, I've adapted a graphic novel that I really love, like with my friend Dave Schilling. And like we're developing that as a movie. Like a movie that a script that this guy Charles Piper wrote, that this director wanted me to be in. I ended up becoming friends with Alex Winter, and like we got Alex Winter involved in it now.
Nice.
And then I had an idea for this kind of thriller thing. Like, and I'm like, I'm not like a thriller writer, but like I was telling it to some guy I knew in the horror scene. And he's like, oh, you know, this guy I know, he's like a real good writer, real quick, real fun to work with. I think you guys will get along. He just wrote like a werewolf movie with Ethan Embry that's really good. You should talk to him about your idea and like beat it out with him. And then like And then like, I talked it over. He did like a treatment. We tweaked it a bit. And then in a month, like he had an amazing script. And now I'm like sending that around to try and so it's like, now I'm finally at a place where like I'm working the least I ever have, but the busiest I've ever been. But I'm feeling really good about all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling really, really proud and really excited about getting to, do the new thing and not be embarrassed by it. Not like it's like, not go like, well, I kind of want to act more. And like, it's like, people going, and some of that's like, also like, trying to be more mindful of like, if I really want to be an actor, if I really want to be on camera, I have to like, I have to lose some weight. I have to look a little healthier, cause, I have to, cause like when I'm a little, when I weigh less, and it's like, I'm not like saying like one way or the other kind of body is, I'm saying personally for me, when I weigh less, I'm a better performer because like, I'm not thinking about, are my man boobs showing too much in this shirt,
Yeah.
Like, it's like you need to have like nothing in the way. And because I'm so full of like, like self-awareness, like, the less I weigh, the less I'm concerned about my look, like the more I can give, I feel. And so like, and also a lot of that is inspiration from just being friends with, someone like Kumail.
Yeah.
Who, you see put in the work and doesn't apologize for, saying the things he wants to do and as he's heading towards them.
Yeah. I mean, I understand. I mean, I've acted on stage for years, and then I've also done some indie films, and
nice.
Whenever and I'm a director too, but but whenever I understand that because I've got a little bit of a belly, so every time I'm on camera, I sometimes worry. I'm like, okay, do I look good? Do I need to button this extra button to hide stuff?
Yeah, yeah. And you start to like, and like your one instrument as an actor, you start to kind of like tune it. You're like tuning it in the middle of a performance. You know, like it's like, do I shine my shoulder? Wait, is the camera's over there? And you catch yourself in, in like a monitor, and you're like, oh no, that's terrible posture. It's like, and it's like if I was someone that didn't think about it, like it's like, especially when you see like someone like Bill Murray, like when he was young, he's always looked weird, but like when he was young, he was a weird looking dude.
Yeah.
But he did not care.
No.
He did not care. And like, it's like, I don't have that. So I have to figure out a way to like approximate it or, do an analogy of it.
Yeah. Cause like as an actor, you got to kind of become that character and be in that moment. And you can't be thinking about anything from the outside, even if it's, your physical appearance or just something that's going on. Like, you had a fight with your friend or whatever right before the thing or something, you can't think of that.
Exactly.
It's
like you can't have any of, like there could be no Michael in there. There could be elements that you pull from.
Yeah.
But but like any of that real stuff can't be in there.
Yeah. It's great. I was just, I mean, and I mean, as far as your acting goes, I mean, I enjoyed, I mean, it's only one episode or whatever but your performance on Marin when you were on that, I mean, I thought that was
thanks,
great.
man.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. No, that was a lot of fun. And that was like, I had to audition for that like 3 times. And I was just like,
oh, wow.
At a certain point, I wanted to like tell the like casting director, I was like, they wrote it for me. Like it's like Jerry Stahl wrote it with me in mind, and of course Marin likes it, and like Dave Anthony was a producer. He's like he's like give the role to him. Yeah. But it's like the network was just making me work for it, and I'm glad. I'm very happy about that performance, and it is funny because I was a bit bigger, and it was like because it was also like I worked at record stores, so I was like this I got to be this guy, and I just remember like. When I started, I was being like snarky, like a little bit more snarky, a little bit bigger, but it was Bobcat Goldthwait was directing it, and he was just like, he's like, I want you barely doing a thing, like I want it, like he's like, I want you, I don't want you moving your hands, I don't want you like trying to do anything, and like and it was a great lesson because it's like I remember like when I came in, I was like lots of pointing and stuff like that. The kind of all that stuff. They're like, it's like don't move your hands, don't gesture when you're making a joke because it takes away from the joke. All that kind of like technical acty stuff. which is fun. And then but it was funny kind of also again, when I did the Puka movie with Felicia Day for Hulu and Blumhouse, the director is he's a Cuban guy. And he's like, when you see the line, you just use it like he wanted everything so big. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. He's like, but you just lip flapping,
Yeah, I think Bobcat's a great director too. I mean,
I love his films so much. Yeah, he's one of those scripts I had made. He's looking at it right now, and I'm like, he's sending it around, and I was like, did you want to direct it? He's like, I haven't decided yet, but I'll help until then.
Nice. Yeah, I met him years ago he did a stand-up thing locally, and I talked to him for about 20 minutes about directing, and it was just great because he was actually excited that I was not talking to him about Police Academy or something. So, because everybody there was like, just like, oh, that's all they knew him from.
You do the voice.
Yeah. I was just like,
yeah. So. Yeah, he is I love his films, and I really can't wait for him to do some more. I know kind of took a break because he had that TV show.
Yeah.
But I hope he gets back into it.
Me too. Something I like to ask everybody, what kind of advice would you give a younger person trying to get into entertainment in any way?
It's funny because that's on the new podcast I've been doing, I've been asking that, and it's I'm realizing it's a hard question to answer because it always tends to sound the same. Everyone kind of just do the thing, make the thing.
I know.
And and stuff is so different from even when I started in 2002.
Yeah.
And I was just talking about recently with my friend where it's I wanted to make sketch videos and I was remember trying, I was doing open mics with Dan Mintz, who would go on to voice Tina and Bob's Burgers and BJ Novak. And, it's I'm like, we should make video sketches. And they were like, what would you even do with them? I was like, I think I got my friend has a projector. I don't know anyone with the camera. Does anyone know anyone with the camera? We could show him at a coffee shop. I was like, I could wheel out a TV. Just this is all pre-YouTube where you just
now you can just upload it.
But I'd say for anyone, it's just I'll parlay some advice from other people too, like Mick Garris, who is a great director and writer.
Yeah.
He did a ton of stuff. He says if you want to make films, start just by writing, because writing doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah.
It's just write it. You can make it as crazy as you want, but you'll learn every time you do it. And also just just, I don't know, make stuff, because you got to fail. You got to fail so much doing this stuff. Most all of it is just failing. And it's if you can't get past that idea that you're going to look dumb or desperate, and even earlier, I was saying, I'm still, I've been doing entertainment stuff, since I was 20, and I'm still kind of grappling with I want to make movies. I'm still having trouble.
Yeah.
And so you have to have this, you have to have blind confidence to know that you're not going to be great, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Because if the doing it is what's gonna make you happy in the end.
Yeah.
And it's, take it from me. I have friends that became millionaires, multiple friends that became millionaires. And I'm here going when's that next stimulus check going to come in? And I don't feel bad about that. I respect all the choices I made because it made me who I am. But I really say it's decide what you want to do, and then read as many books you can about that. I think any kind of showbiz autobiographies are very helpful. Steve Martin's Born Standing Up is incredible because it's just
that's one of my favorite books ever.
One of my all-time favorite books, and I listened to I read it a bunch of times, but I listened to it going to bed, or every time I'm on a plane I listen to it because it's very comforting. The little banjo interludes, but like that's a real great showbiz story, because you really see like how he just put in the work. Like he just like plotted, and I think he even says in the beginning, it's like my strides weren't heroic. I just took I took, you know, like I went step by step with a few intuitive leaps. You know, and it's just really, really about putting in the work. Also, like I really love going Studio Binder. I think is a great YouTube channel and website, and they have a ton of stuff. It's like it just really depends. It's like if you want to be a filmmaker, like study it. You got to study it. You gotta watch it all. You gotta do nothing but all the guys I know that like direct movies or write movies. They're watching movies nonstop. Yeah, nonstop. Good ones, bad ones. They're just watching them all the time. You know, my wife Deanna, who's an incredible actor, she like is constantly reading like, you know, Uta Hagen books and like Meisner books and like watching workshops that are all this stuff, all these like Q&As of actors and directors and writers. They're all on YouTube. Yeah. Like go to school there, you know? Yeah, it's the best time in the world to be able to study because it's all there on the internet. Yeah, like it's like I think I forget, it was something came up. I was like, oh, I wonder, like I really like Ewan McGregor's performance in Beginners, which is one of my favorite movies. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna look it up and see if he did any like Q&As around when that movie came out, because I wanted to hear him talk about that movie and that performance. And I found 3. Nice. And it was great. Yeah. You know, it's like hearing about his approach and stuff like that. You know, it's all there. And then just like, you know, and making stuff. And like you said, like, it's like, you know, you do theater, you're a director, you're in Ohio. It's like, you don't have to be anywhere to do the thing. You just got to do the thing. Yeah. It's, I mean, basically, I think that's the best advice I've gotten from anybody is just basically just do it. I mean, kind of like the Nike slogan, but but you know, but just don't use Chinese slave labor when just doing it. Yeah. I'm not sure how you do that to become an actor or anything, but bot farms, just slave labor running your Instagram account. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Anything else you'd like to say before I let you go here? No, just I had a really nice time, and it's if anyone likes music, I have Jonah Radio, the music podcast, which is just fun and silly. And then if you like movies, I've been doing a movie commentary podcast called Let Me Watch Your Movie With You, where I watched a movie along with someone that was involved. And I had Mick Garris when we watched Critters 2. Oh, nice. I had Alex Winter and we watched Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. And like a ton of different people. I just did one with Will Wheaton where we watched Toy Soldiers. Oh wow. And that one's really like a really interesting one, just because it's like he tells a lot about like just child acting and how like the good and mostly bad of what it entails. It's like Emily Gordon, we watched The Big Sick because she was a writer and she talked about, she was able to talk about her story there. And then, but also, talk about, the process of being an Academy Award winning or nominated writer, screenplay, and that whole process. So it's been a lot of fun, talking to my friends about their movies. But I also have it set up so like there's a little countdown, kind of like how, like riff tracks used to be, where it's like you pull out your phone, pull up the episode, and then when I count down, you press play along, and you can just watch commentary with movies. That's awesome. I'll have to definitely check that out because I wasn't aware of that one, so I have to definitely check that one out. It's very. I just started it, and like it's also like I try to make it so you can also just listen. So you don't have. But it's been. Yeah. But it's been really fun. I talked to the writer of A History of Violence, Josh Olson, and that one was a lot of fun too. But yeah, it's one of those things where that's me still. That's also me, like learning. That's me, like like talking to people about like their process and their movies, and their performances and their writing, because that's the opportunity I have to learn. And that's what I'm trying to do, you know?
Yeah. And I definitely think the people that listen to this podcast would definitely enjoy that show. So I definitely I recommend that. I haven't even listened to it yet, but I definitely recommend it.
Perfect.
It sounds good.
If anything, it's got a good logo.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. Well, thank you for your time, and if you ever have anything you want to talk about, just let me know, and we'll have you on again.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michael. I really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right. You too. See ya.
Okay, and we are back. That was my interview there with Jonah Ray. That was a great interview. I really loved talking to him. A lot of good insight into the world of entertainment, and a lot of like, I don't know. I just really liked how down to earth he was, and how kind of scared he is about things in the world too and stuff, which is, and how the pandemic has helped open his eyes to what can, happen in the world and stuff. And it was kind of cool, like where, you need to basically, it helped him to see where he wanted to take his career, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, be sure, if you haven't yet, check out on Netflix the Mystery Science Theater 3000 episodes he hosts, among anything else he's done. He was on an episode of Marin, which was really cool, which I talked to him about a little bit. He's such a cool guy, but yeah, definitely check out anything of his and his podcasts as well. I'm sure that everybody that listens to this show will enjoy his new podcast. Really cool concept where he watches movies with people involved in the film, and they do an audio commentary basically throughout the film. So you can watch it along with the movie, or you can watch it without too, and probably get as much entertainment out of it as you would while you're watching it. But anything cool going on in your life, Matt?
No, just staying safe, just not going out a lot, or at all really. Just yeah, kind of boring. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, that's okay. So, anyways, make sure you follow us on the social medias, or the social needs, as I like to call them. The twits and the books and the and the grams. Check out our Patreon. You can get a lot of cool stuff. If you like the concept of an audio commentary along with the film, one of our perks that we have on there is you could actually, get an audio commentary on a bad movie that Matt and I can do while we watch the movie, things of that nature. It's really cool. Check out our TeePublic, get some cool t-shirts and stuff of that nature. Yeah. Anyways, until next time, all Too Real 2 fans.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.